the time has finally come. I honestly, let me just tell you guys what happened. So for the past 2 years, I have been having so many issues with my van. Like, it'll break down on me in traffic. I'll be going down a hill, up a hill. It'll go into this thing called a limp mode where like I can't match the gas. I can't drive it at all. It's super dangerous. AC went out. My turn signal wasn't working. Just so many different things piled up with this van. And I wanted to get a new van, honestly. I just didn't have the money. Just things didn't line up. I wasn't in a position to be able to pay for it. And the time has come. I finally purchased the van that I have wanted for really since I started my business. I just couldn't afford it when I first got my van, but I finally bought my van. So I'm gonna take you guys through the full build with me. Me and my dad, I'm turning him into a content creator today. We'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna take you guys through the full build, just how I put all my tools and equipment, my plotter, everything inside of the van. Let's get into it. So before I get started building everything out and just getting my setup inside of the van, gotta give you guys a little tour first. All right, so this is the van. It is a 2018 Ford Transit. Pretty good size, so I've got the side door. So I got the side door. Thinking about putting some shelves right here. Got this one. Put some shelves on that side too. The good thing is it already came with the wood. So now all I have to do is put my board on. I don't have to do any of that part, so that's good. So I'm thinking about doing my plotter here. I'm gonna do a toolbox right here. Gonna mount a monitor there. Peel board here. And everything in between. I don't know. We're still figuring it out. But yeah, man, this is the van. It's going into the backside. I can't even explain to you guys how happy I am. Like, this van honestly came at the right time. And it's funny because yesterday when I went to buy the van, I knew that I wanted it. I knew that I wanted to get a new van, but I was still so unsure. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm like, should I wait? Should I save my money? Should I, just tough it out with my van? And it's funny, on the way to look at this van, my other van broke down. I had to pull over on the highway, give it some time, cut it back on. It ended up getting to the dealership, but it broke down on the way. And for me, that's like a sign from God. Like, God gave me that confirmation to like go ahead and make this purchase. And honestly, this is like a next step in my business, a next step in like the growth of my business. So I'm just really excited to just keep providing the best tint service that I can, honestly elevate my service. My plan for this initial build is really just to get me through the rest of the summer into the winter. I'm just focusing on it being functional, something that I can use every single day, and just keep the build very similar to the same thing that I had in my old van, just to really get me through the winter. And then we'll probably do something different in the back. All right, so I'm at Home Depot getting all of the wood that's gonna go on the floor and on the walls. So we'll see how this goes. This is usually my dad's part. He usually does all of this, but he didn't feel like going to the store today. So I'm here getting all the wood. You guys wish me luck on this. I'm on the way home. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought we were gonna be able to get the whole thing done today, and we didn't. Not even close. Well, I won't say not close. We got the floor done. I got the walls done. I just gotta mount my plotter, the glass board, just a couple things, but we struggled bad today. It was a rough day. It was hot. We didn't have shade. It was a tough day. But I'm gonna go back tomorrow and I'm gonna finish up everything. I won't have my dad's help, so I'll be by myself. But for the most part, I mean, everything else is pretty much easy. Just mounting up my glass board, my plotter, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. I am tired. All right, guys, it is the next day. We got some rest, a little bit more energized, but as you can see, the floor is done. I just came in this morning, so we pretty much finished the whole thing yesterday, except for this little corner right here. So I just came in this morning and finished up the corner. This honestly was harder than I thought. It was a lot harder than I thought. It took a lot more time than I expected. So honestly, I didn't even record this part of putting the floor down. It just took too much. But this floor that we put down is called vinyl flooring. So they just lock together, and it's kind of like a big puzzle. The hard part was just cutting around the wheel wells, around the wall, things like that. But we were able to get it done. So now I am going to get both of my walls put up. Then I've got to paint the walls, get my plotter put up, get my peel board put up, and then toolbox, and then we're pretty much done with the setup. All right, I gotta be real with y'all. This project ended up being way harder than I imagined. Like, I thought it was gonna take me one day, I was gonna get everything done, but it took about a week. Honestly, it got to a point where I was just like, you know what, forget about recording. I'm gonna just show you guys the after and do kind of like a breakdown of everything, about how much I paid for everything and just the setup itself. But as far as showing the build, honestly, after the second day, I wasn't even thinking about recording. But I'm finished. I have the entire build complete. I'm done with it, and I'm ready to show you guys what it looks like. The first thing I'm going to start with is how I power everything. Typically, whenever I show you guys one of my setups, I always forget to show you how I actually power everything, and that is important. So I have my generator right here. This is a Champion 2000 watt generator. So that powers my plotter, my lights, the heat gun, my monitor. It powers everything. So I got that from Harbor Freight, I think for like 400 bucks. No, it wasn't. It was Tractor Supply for 400 bucks. And I've had it for about 2 years. So I love it. Honestly, it's super quiet. I turned it off, but it is pretty quiet. So that's how I power everything. So one cord here that I run to the inside, and then I've got a power strip down there where I connect everything. That is temporary, and that's usually how I've powered everything from my previous setups. But this time around, I've got something going in actually this week that's gonna be a little bit better, a little bit cleaner, and a little more efficient. I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, guys, so this is the full setup. It is complete. All right, so let's walk through it. So starting with the floor, I decided to go with vinyl flooring. So these are essentially vinyl planks that you line them up and they snap in together. The reason why I wanted to do this is because it, first of all, is waterproof. So whenever I spray water on my peel board, I don't have to worry about this floor, starting to deteriorate over time. I mean, it's waterproof, so I don't have to worry about that. Another reason why I decided to go with this is because when I roll around on my chair, this floor is very, it's flat, it's smooth, so I can roll around a little bit easier. So I think for 2 packs of, that's what it took to do the whole floor. So with about two of the vinyl flooring packs, I think it was like 230. So I paid $230 just for the floor. Moving on to the peel board. This is the same peel board, if you guys remember, that I had in my other setup. It is a 4x3 peel board. I was gonna go with a longer one, because sometimes whenever I'm doing a windshield or some large back windshields, it's not really big enough. But honestly, I kind of like this peel board. I like the size. It doesn't take up too much room. So I think I'm just gonna run with this for a little bit. But it is the same peel board that I use in the other setup. So I just have it screwed in. Whenever I bought the van, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but it had the wood planks already installed. So I have these screws going directly into the wood planks. So this peel board is not going anywhere. When I drive, when I'm riding around, it doesn't shake, it doesn't move. It's not going anywhere. It's bolted down. So that's another good thing about that. So this board that I used to cut out for this side, I think one sheet ended up being about $30. So that's another $30 on top of the $230 that we paid for the floor. So we're now at $260 for the full build so far. All right, and now we have the most important part of this whole build, which is my plotter setup. So I wanted to keep it simple, but make it something that was very functional for me. So with the other setup, I just used the frame that it came with. So the stand, the legs that it had, and it worked for me for a little bit. I just drilled it into the subfloor. I didn't really have to worry about it moving or swaying. But the only problem that I had is I had a shorter van, and whenever I would cut my tent out, it would hit the floor. And so I would have small creases sometimes, or I would have to hold the tent, which kind of takes up time, when I want to move around and just kind of press the cut button and let my plotter do its thing while I'm, either prepping a window or pulling panels or whatever it is that I'm doing. I just had to sit here and watch the plotter, and I didn't like that. So what I did is I bought these brackets, and the brackets I like because it allows me to lift the plotter up just a little bit. So now when I run my film through the plotter, it usually doesn't hit the ground. I don't have to worry about the creases anymore. So that part I'm loving so far. The only thing right now that I would say, I want to change at some point is the way that I load the film into the back. Because I can't stand up all the way, I'm trying to look over the plotter and it's so close to the ceiling. I have hit my head a couple times on the ceiling, but that's so minor. Both brackets were about $8 a piece, so that's 16 plus another $30 for this plywood. So now that brings our total to 306 for the build so far. So this is the roll holder that I've always had. I had this in my other setup as well. I got this from TintX's website for about $100. But it gets the job done. It has these little plastic things you stick into the roll holder wherever you want them to go, and then your film just goes on top of it. I like it. The only complaint that I would have is that when I'm driving, sometimes they roll around and they might hit the wood back there. But other than that, I mean, to me personally, that's not that big of a deal. I may stick, some foam back there or something. But other than that, this thing gets the job done. All right, guys. And this, I would have to say, is one of my favorite parts of the full setup. So what I wanted to do with this setup is have a place where I can work and it be truly an office. With me being mobile, I don't have too many jobs inside of a shop or anything like that. I'm 100% mobile. And so I wanted a place where, I can answer calls, I can send emails, I can do booking, anything that I'm going to need for the day-to-day operations of my business, I can do right here. So I have my Wi-Fi. I use a company called Travelfi. I've got my keyboard, my monitor, which is connected to my laptop that's inside of the toolbox. But this is probably my favorite part of the whole setup just because it gives me that office feel. So the TV was $130 and the keyboard and mouse setup was 18, so that brings our total to 454. Last but not least, I have my toolbox. I've bought different types of toolboxes that I'm sure you've seen if you've been following my journey of creating different, setups inside of my van. And one big issue that I've always had is I've tried to cheap out. And so buying a cheap toolbox or something, the plastic drawers and things like that, and it never works out. With me using it every day, being inside and out of the van, honestly, I am a little rough on these drawers. I needed something that I know is gonna last and it's sturdy. So I bought this Husky toolbox. So I've got literally, I don't even have all these full yet. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's not organized, so I can't show you that just yet. But I have so much drawer space to be able to hold all of my tools, my squeegees, rags, everything that I have and everything that I use on a daily basis can fit in here. Now, the toolbox was an investment. I did pay $400 for the toolbox, but like I said, this is something that I can have for years and years. If I do decide to get another van or whatever, I know that I can have this toolbox. So with the $400 for the toolbox, that now brings our total to $854. Another quick thing that I wanted to show you guys is my lights. I have these LED light bars that I got from Amazon. Super cheap. I think a pack of 4 was like 20 bucks. I already had these in my other setup, so I'm not going to count them towards our total build cost. But I did run the wires through. Could have been a little cleaner, but I did run the wires through behind, behind the panel. And I've got one right here too. At some point, I think I'm going to put a roof, put like another one of these pieces of plyboard and just do it on the roof, and maybe put some hex lights either on the ceiling or do them in behind the peel board. All right, guys, so that's pretty much everything that I have put into the van so far. So that is the plotter, the toolbox, the monitor, peel board, everything that I need just to operate right now. Now, there are some things that I am going to add, like doing walls on the doors. I still have to get my reel holder, my extension cord, and my tank, my keg set up. I still have to get those reels put up. That's going to come in a later video. The one thing I did want to tell you guys as far as the power setup that I'm going to have. So this week, I have a good friend of mine who is putting in an inverter with an external battery. So what that is going to do is going to power all of my tools, my equipment. It's going to power everything, but it's not going to drain the main battery that I have on the van. So there is going to be a separate battery in the back that's not going to run off the main battery. It's going to power all of my tools and equipment. And they are putting a solar panel on the roof. The solar panel is designed to charge the other battery whenever the car is running or when I'm not driving the van, when it's just sitting here. That solar panel is what's going to charge the battery, so that each day when I wake up, I don't have to worry about my main battery charging the external battery. I hope that makes sense. Honestly, he had to explain it to me, but that's just my understanding of how that's going to work. The way that that saves me is now I don't have to even carry around my generator, which takes up space, and it smells up my van. It smells like gas. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal, but I do think that is a better investment for me for the long term. So now I can cut costs as far as getting gas for the generator, buying oil, filters, everything that I have to do to maintain the generator. I don't have to worry about that anymore because I have the inverter set up. And then one last thing that this same shop is also going to be doing for me is installing an AC unit. So they're going to be putting an AC unit. We still don't know where we're going to put it. I'm thinking in that back corner, wherever the inverter is going to go, but that is going to be run underneath the van. That is going to be a whole separate video. I can't wait for you guys to see that. Now, as far as the cost of the full build, so with everything included that I showed you guys, we're at about $854 that I spent. So it doesn't really include the small things like the screws to drill the board in. I bought the wrong brackets. I had to buy some new ones, just little things here and there that I didn't really account for. So if I had to say $854, I would say we're really at about $900 for the full build. Most of this stuff I already had from my other van, so most of it, I didn't have to pay for. To some people, that may sound like a lot just to work outside of your van, but for me personally, I think there is something to be said about showing up to your customer's house and having a clean setup. You don't have tools all over the floor. You have everything organized, and I'm speaking from experience. There were days where with my old van, it was unorganized and I was embarrassed to open the doors because my customers want to see it. But now I feel confident, letting people look inside of my van and seeing how everything is set up. If someone showed up to my house with an unorganized van, it's dirty, there's tools everywhere, I'm going to question the work. But if someone shows up with a clean setup, and it doesn't have to be this, it doesn't have to be this extravagant or whatever it is. If somebody shows up with a clean setup, that shows that they care about what they do. And 9 times out of 10, they're also going to care about your vehicle as well. So I wanted to invest in my van. And now everything that I did, with taking my time, investing in the right tools and products, now I can trust that these tools are going to last. The boards, the brackets, everything that I put up is going to last for as long as I need it to until I'm ready to take it down. The one thing I want to share with you guys as far as the setup is that it didn't come overnight. In the first video, I think I explained it a little bit, how I got started. But my very first work van, I guess you could call it, was a 2006 GMC Denali that had detailing equipment and tint boxes everywhere. That's where I started. Then I bought a 1994 Chevy Astro van that broke down in my customer's driveway during the first job. I went back to the Yukon, was working out of that for a while, and then I bought the previous van that I had before this one, and then I got this one. I say all that to say that it's a journey and it's a process, and you can start wherever you are. So you may not have a van like this, but if you have a car that you drive every single day, put your tent boxes, your tools, your water jugs, and your heat gun in that car and get to work. Don't let that be the reason why you don't get out and start your business. Don't feel like you have to have the latest tools, the latest products, the plotter, and all these different things that social media will make you feel like you have to start your business. I promise you don't need those things to provide a quality service for your customers. So if you're somebody that's wanting to get started and you want to get going in your business, start now. Eventually, you'll be able to reinvest your money. You'll be able to build up to where you can buy a van. But I promise this didn't happen for me overnight. We're talking 5 years of grinding, 5 years of working out of my personal car. I say all that to say I'm coming from humble beginnings when it comes to my business. I didn't start from money. I didn't have anything when I started my business. I just built this thing from the ground up, piece by piece, and I'm still building. So you have the ability to do the exact same thing that I did. That's the full setup. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope you learned something. I'm someone that loves to share different information and hear feedback. So if you're someone that wants, to set up your van and you would love some help with it, please let me know. Just leave a comment, or you can send me a message on Instagram if you follow me there. If you're someone that already has a setup and you have some ideas or suggestions of how I could do things, please leave a comment as well. I'll catch you guys on the next video.